I've become a little bit of a believer in this transfer window, in transfer rumours, truth be known. By and large, a lot of the times, the transfers have happened. Not all of them, of course. Otherwise, we'd have Sorloth up front, wouldn't we? We'd have Reece Nelson on the left wing, probably about 3 right-backs by now. But a lot of the times when there have been transfer rumours, there's been speculation in the newspapers, on the websites, everywhere else. It has happened. And there's been a pattern to it. And I'm looking at this Carlos Soler stuff, where there's some breaking news on this now as well. And I'm thinking, maybe, there's a jigsaw to this stuff. It's not just a pattern, there's a jigsaw. You have to take some of the information, which always gets leaked from foreign journalists first, in this transfer window. I'm not talking about Wes Fodringham, not that one. Not clean sheet Wes. Can't believe he wasn't used at the weekend. Not that. Then there seems to be a little bit more speculation over here. It's quite a while before Tim Stuyton starts drip feeding news to his favoured in the nose, Fabrizio Romano, Florian Plettenberg. But there seems to be a pattern to it. And I do wonder if it's following that pattern right now. Okay, so Carlos Soler plays for Paris Saint-Germain. I say plays for him. Not so much anymore, it seems. And this is where the jigsaw comes in. We know we're interested, right? Definitely interested in this player. And we now know that he wants to come to West Ham. And the reason we know that is because Real Sociedad have made a bid for him. And apparently him or his representatives have said, no, he's not coming. He's going to join West Ham. We're just waiting to get our finances in order, apparently. There's a good line of communication open between Paris Saint-Germain and West Ham, which should have been there anyway. We bought Thilo Kehrer, Alphonse Areola. I'm pretty sure we bought Areola. I know he was on loan at Fulham, but I'm pretty sure we bought him from Paris Saint-Germain. So we've got good comms between West Ham and Paris Saint-Germain. But Real Sociedad and a lot of the Spanish press, and this is what's sort of leaking now, are shocked, inverted commas, shocked that West Ham are his chosen destination. I mean, he's a Valencia legend, this guy. Really good player, creative player, and I think it's something and someone that we probably need. There's more to this jigsaw. We'll get to that in just a second. I think when Lucas Paqueta plays, West Ham play. And when he doesn't, it can be a little bit stifling. I thought he was crap at the weekends. By and large, I thought he was crap. But when he turns up, he can change a game. And you saw that with the ball into Thomas Souček, which created the penalty, and the way he dispatched the penalty. There's no doubt about it. He's world class. Lucas Paqueta on his day is absolutely world class. But you've seen him, you West Ham fans, you've seen enough of it. He disappears from the game sometimes. He rolls around on the floor. And I thought the difference... I know, I'm not silly. I know a friendly match is going to be easier than a competitive game. Nonetheless, he looked more interested against Celta Vigo, and he looked a bit vacant, has to be said, against Aston Villa. And I thought he played poorly. But still, at those points, when he rocked up, he delivered. But I think too much of our creative emphasis, particularly in terms of our killer passes, is reliant on him. You certainly looked at our midfield. Thomas Souček wasn't going to do it in that game. He was off, spent most of the game more advanced than Mikel Antonio. Certainly wasn't going to be Rodriguez that did it. So there was a lot of the responsibility fell on the shoulders of Lucas Paqueta. So you can understand why when Lopetegui says he wants 2 players in every position, that actually he's going to need another playmaker. George Urphy going out on loan, and well done, George Urphy. Obviously came off the bench, did well, didn't he? Had a hand. I'm not sure if it was quite an assist, but had a hand in their last gasp goal, which I think did it give him victory against Millwall? Not sure, but he was involved certainly, which is really good for him. But I mean, he's an attacking midfielder. For him to go out on loan, you would anticipate that West Ham are going to be looking for another attacking midfielder. We know we've got to sell before we buy, but we also know that we can be really, really creative with the way that we do transfer deals. I think the Jean-Claire Todibourg and transfer deal was about as creative as I can think in recent times from West Ham. We ratcheted the deal, so we haven't really got to pay anything until next year. there's an obligation to buy, which technically makes it a loan, but I think if he plays 10 games, we have to buy him. It was a clever way for us to manage our money, to do something that enabled us to spend without spending. I think spread the costs, which helped with PSR, and also give something that was, I guess, attractive to the selling club in Nice, which meant they could obviously borrow and spend off the back of what they knew was coming from West Ham. So it all parties, but it was creative. It was a creative deal. Apparently, there's a similar thing going on here with Paris Saint-Germain, where we're going to look to get this guy on loan with a view to a permanent move. And I would like to get him in, and I think more importantly, I think Lopetegui would like to get him in, and I think also the other part of the jigsaw is that West Ham have not ruled this out, not in the least. So when they've been asked about, namely him, they don't ever come back with the name and say, yes, we're interested in him. They'll say, we're working on a number of things, but we need to get players out the door. There's still transfer business to be done. Well, pretty much everything else that they've said has been accurate in terms of transfers this season. And as I say, I start to get more belief because I've seen so many of these players come in. You've seen it before. You've seen it. We were linked with Todibo for ages. He came in. We were linked with Kilman for ages. He came in. Some of it less so. Some of it was a little bit, a little bit late. But we get linked with these guys, and we do tend to sign them. I think it was probably, even Guilherme was probably 3-week build-up before we signed him. But we signed 8 players. And we were told we want to sign a right back. We want to sign 2 central defenders. We were told want to sign a central midfielder, want to sign a left winger, want to sign a forward. That was what we were told at the start of the window. Well, they've all turned out to be true. And if Lopetegui's saying he wants 2 players, then for each position, then why not? I would suggest we don't have one for attacking midfield. Now, I would say that we have players that could play there. Mohamed Kudus would be one, but we've seen Mohamed Kudus play in 2 positions. We've got 1 game's worth of evidence. I understand that. We've got 1 game's worth of evidence under Lopetegui. We've seen him play left wing and right wing. Not really seen anything, or in pre-season, to suggest that Lopetegui is going to be playing Mohamed Kudus in attacking midfield. So we have to assume on that slim, slender glender bit of evidence that he's not going to play there. So I think Soler is going to be, you can see scoring a winner, solar power. It's got to happen, isn't it? Anyway, didn't play for Paris Saint-Germain in their season opener. And they won 4-1 against Le Havre. What is more telling is that Paris Saint-Germain made 5 substitutions in that game, and Soler remained on the bench throughout. Well, you can understand it, not apparently. They clearly want to get rid of him. They need to sell him, Paris Saint-Germain, so as they can, I guess, like everybody else, they've had a slap on the wrist. They've had their collar felt a few times over. Well, that was financial fair play, and now we know it's a little bit stricter. So they've got to adhere to these regulations just like everybody else has. So they need to sell before they can buy. So they need him gone. So what do we know? We know that West Ham want him. We know that Paris Saint-Germain don't want him anymore. We know that we need him as a player in a position. And we know that the Spanish media are saying that he's going to West Ham. It's a lot, isn't it? I mean, that is quite a lot going on there. The one stumbling block, we can't afford him. And this is what I think's happening. I think Real Sociedad want him now, and he's saying, no, I'm not, because I'm going to West Ham. Why hasn't he signed for West Ham? If we could do it, we would have done it by now. If we could do it quickly. If you read the article with Guido Rodriguez, he said it was like a whirlwind. He was on his way. He was on his way to Real Betis. He was meant to sign for Barcelona, didn't sign for Barcelona. He was going to re-sign for Real Betis. He said West Ham came in, his words, they were like a whirlwind. So they got it done in 2 days. We know we could do it quick if we need to. I think, reading between the lines, I think we've said we're going to sign you, but we need to offload. And I think we're close to offloading. Sounds a bit disgusting. Sounds a bit rude, doesn't it? Dropping the kids off at the pool and all that. I think we're close to doing a massive dump of players. Put it that way. A massive dump would be probably a a little deposit, a small deposit. Let's put it that way. And I think he knows it. I think Sola knows it. I think we've got a deal close, and it could be anyone. Look, take your pick. It could be a Gerd. It could be Zuma, maybe Ings, Cornet. Take your pick. I think once that's done, Sola comes in. I think he knows it. No smoke without fire. I'm not so sure. I think keep your eyes on this one. I think it may be happening.